the Caption.
The shiny looks good.
Thank you.
I've seen it. It's that you painted the thing.
Yeah. Much fresher, isn't it?
Did anyone lock the front door? I left it open because I wasn't sure.
Oh, it was open when I came in.
Yeah, I'll leave it open just.
I've just muted everybody. It's just on start time now. So, Vicky, I might hand over to you for a quick introduction. You just need to unmute yourself, though.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Adam's just unmuted me, so I can just do a brief introduction. So, everybody meet Adam Franklin. I came across Adam on Instagram and just thought, you know, ChatGPT is such a hot topic that it sounded really great. So we thought we'd just go to someone who's got some expertise with it. Adam's going to do his own little intro. I've also sent you his bio and some details about today. I'll just run through a little bit of housekeeping and then I'll pass you over to Adam. So we're going to start with the 30-minute content presentation. We'll then have 30 minutes roughly of demo and then 30 minutes of questions. So if everybody can follow the same drill that we do with Kaz, put your questions in the chats and Adam will collate them and go through them at the end. I thought also, just in talking around the table here, that we might also stay on, and Adam's happy to leave the session open to just chat amongst ourselves about how other people are using ChatGPT. Julianne's just mentioned a pretty fun thing that she's been doing. So, you know, we'll just see if there's any other stuff that comes forward. Adam, I might leave you to talk about the offer that you had mentioned to the group. So you can do a quick intro on the details of that. We are recording this as well, so anyone who wants the recording can just mention that to me and I'll pass it on. And I think that's everything. That's everything. So I'll just pass you back to Adam, and Adam, you can take it from here.
Fabulous. Thank you for that, Vicky. All right, I'll just spotlight my screen. Okay, team. Well, firstly, welcome to today's session, ChatGPT for Marketing, Content and Lead Nurture. Now, this business of mine, Blue Wire Media, it's nearly 20 years old, but of course, AI hasn't been around that long. It's been mainly the last 6 to 12 months that AI has really come onto the scene. And what I've certainly found is that there have been tremendous benefits to understanding it, not just from a marketing standpoint, but from all other facets of business and your life as well, which I'm sure you'll talk about afterwards, the other applications that you've discovered. But to start with, I'm curious which areas of marketing do you see ChatGPT being most useful? Now, you should all be able to see this up on the screen, and you can pop the answer into the chat, A, B, C, or D. Marketing and content creation. This is like your social media, your articles, blogs, etc. B, your lead generation. C, your lead nurture. So direct messages, private conversations that you're having. D, sales. And I guess E, all of the above, which many of you are popping in. Lovely. All excellent. Look, that's a fairly typical response when I surveyed my Blue Wire community on LinkedIn and through my newsletter. We found out that most people initially think marketing and content creation is the area that it can help the most, and that's a really nice place, to get started. But I guess firstly, where are you? Sorry, I know you're tuning in from Melbourne. can you just drop in the chat how you describe your role? Like, are you all considered interior designers, or just pop into the chat the language that you use to describe yourself? Say either on your LinkedIn profile, decorator, designer. Building designer, decorator, designer. Perfect. Perfect. And then have a think about what a sweet spot client. Sorry, next question is, are you all business owners, or are some of you employed in a business? Just put owner or employee. Fabulous. Thought that was the case, but always like to clarify. And then next question is, have a think about an ideal sweet spot client. So one of your best clients in the absolute sweet spot that you love working with, that are really energizing, where you do your best work. Have a think about that, and just think about what would that type of project be worth to your business, say over the next 12 months. So the type of client, the type of project that sweet spot client would do. Like, is it a $10,000 job, $100,000 job? Have a think about that and pop that in the chat. Yep, $50,000 to $100,000, $100,000, perfect. Yep, large budgets. Busy family, over $1 million budget, large reno, perfect. Professional couple. Wonderful. Wonderful. And I guess in an ideal world, would you prefer to be marketing or doing your interior designing or decorating? Like, what would energize you the most each day? Doing the interior design work or doing the marketing work? Yeah. Designing, not marketing, yes. I suspected that might be the case. I haven't seen anybody put down marketing yet, and I don't blame you. Marketing, yeah, and you used to be a marketer, Sandy, very good. Yeah, marketing is at best a necessary evil. At worst, it's like, I don't know, what's the worst thing possible? But no one really, when you're in a profession like yours, you're running the business, you're doing the interior designing and the decorating, that's what drives you. That's what gets you out of bed. That's what energizes you. That is your high value work. That is your native genius. That's what you're put on this planet to do. Nobody so far has said, I like the interior designing part a little bit, but geez, I much prefer marketing and telling the world about myself. So that makes total sense. Now, what I want to do today is show you how ChatGPT can actually help with the bits that you don't love doing. So I would like to help facilitate a world for you where you can focus most of your time and energy working with high value clients, doing the stuff that you love, and doing the high value work that only you can do. And if we can get things like ChatGPT to do a lot of the grunt work and the heavy lifting, well, then that is going to make your life a lot easier. And it also ticks the box of sort of tackling that necessary evil that is marketing, because marketing leads to a pipeline of work. And not only a pipeline of work, but it means you can charge the fees that you deserve, and you can work with the clients that you deserve. So you don't have to do any lower price jobs or projects that aren't in your sweet spot, or for people or clients who you don't really want to work with. That's the value of doing marketing well. And it can be a little bit daunting. It can be a little bit scary, but it can also typically just be one of those things that you kind of know you need to do. It's there on your to-do list, but it's never in the top 1 or 2 things that you're going to do each day. And so it gets neglected. That is very, very common. Who can relate to that? Just other show of hands are in the chat. Yeah, totally. Okay. So when we're kicking off, I mean, when we're even thinking about marketing, before we even think about ChatGPT or anything else, most of the time we feel these types of things as either a lack of a plan, it's overwhelming, we're doing it because we don't necessarily have enough leads to work with. So it's not like we want to do marketing, but we feel we have to because we would like some more visibility on projects in terms of a pipeline, or we need some work in the door now, please. And there's not enough time, resources, or expertise internally because you're interior designers. That's your specialty. You don't really want to be worried too much about the marketing, except that we know that we have to. So what I want to do today is help get you on the flip side of that. I want you to actually walk away with a clear roadmap. I want you to be able to know how to get your marketing and content assets ready to deploy. And we're going to use ChatGPT to enable that. You're probably fairly clear on your Dream 1000 audience, but I will also touch on the value of actually having a network, either on email or LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, or a combination of all of those. When you have got, and you've probably heard the expression before, 1,000 true fans, when you have those 1,000 true fans, you won't need to worry where your next job or client is coming from. And I'll also show you how these little acronyms, VAIP and AI, all work. So I want to show you that having a VA, a virtual assistant, makes this whole process a lot easier. Having your IP, your intellectual property, unpacked enables you to share bits of that IP with people in your network and community, and how we can fast track all of that with AI, artificial intelligence. I'm going to show you ChatGPT, but there's lots of others out there. Kim has raised her hand. Yeah, that's a good logical place to have a quick breather. Kim, if you've got a question, you can unmute yourself.
I'm good. I was just responding to the last question that you asked something.
Oh, very good.
I'm just playing with this.
Yeah, you got the little hand raiser button. All good. Fabulous. So let's have a from a marketing standpoint, let's firstly look at where ChatGPT, all the different areas that ChatGPT and AI can help. And I'm also going to share all the slides, all the workbook, everything with you on today's session too. So take notes for sure, but don't feel like you're going to miss anything because it's not because you haven't written it down fast enough. Okay. So I'm going to take you through the 3 pillars of where ChatGPT can certainly help us in a marketing and sales standpoint. Firstly, from a pure marketing standpoint, it can help us generate ideas for content. It can help us actually create that content and the social media outputs. And we can even train it to write like you. I'll show you how we can do that today. Then once the leads do come in, once the marketing's out there, then we also need to focus on the actual lead generation and the nurture of those leads. So this is where LinkedIn can help us with like the calls to action to actually invite people to take that next step, either into a Facebook group or onto an email list or to download something or to connect on LinkedIn. It can help us uncover lead magnets that either you have already in your business or that you could create. So a lead magnet is something that is very valuable to the recipient or the future client, but that you give it away as a gift, as an incentive for people to come and join your ecosystem. And then also ChatGPT can help with what to say in the DMs, because it's all well and good to have marketing that's out there, but we do need to have a process of having a conversation with these people, whether it's on email or private message or what have you, to be able to advance that relationship to the point where you can then have a sales conversation. All right, and then thirdly, the third pillar is the actual sales side of things, which in an ideal world, people know you, they know the price, they know what you do, but in practice, we actually need to be deliberate and strategic with what we do here. And so having ChatGPT help us, it can help us craft offers or, packaging your services up. It can help us put that onto web pages or Google Docs in order to actually present that offer to your prospective clients. And it can also help with sales frameworks or sales call frameworks so that you're not reinventing the wheel each time or going ad hoc by the seat of your pants on a sales call. There's actually like a structured process to the questions that you ask and how you then determine, is this person a good fit? Do they have the right budget? Is the timeline compatible with your capacity? And all of those things. And when all those things come together, that's when and the marketing engine is firing, that's when you can expect it to be producing these high value clients for you. So it's $50,000 or $100,000 projects with the right clients, with the right budgets, and all of that. So does that make sense, folks? Does that, I outlined some of the areas that ChatGPT might be able to help us with. And welcome to the folks coming in now. We're a little bit of the way through the content side of this ChatGPT for marketing workshop. And if you do have, or when you do have questions, folks, just pop them in the chat. If it's an appropriate time to answer them now, I will. If I think it's going to be better answered later, then I'll also do that. But the format today is basically a 30-minute content presentation, 30-minute demo, and 30 minutes for Q&A at the end. But if you've got a question, pop it in so you don't forget, and then I can answer it at an appropriate point of the presentation. All right, so let's have a talk about how to get the best output from ChatGPT. And it's all about sort of feeding it properly. That's my daughter and I feeding one of the swans at the Currimundi Lake where I live up at the Sunshine Coast. And ChatGPT is one of those things that you need to feed properly, because I have found that one of the biggest mistakes we make with it is expecting it to read your mind and expecting it to understand about you and your style and your business and your ideal clients without actually telling it to. So yes, it does have information, a huge amount of information it can draw from, but when you, and that will produce words, that will produce content, but it won't necessarily be anywhere near as good as what we can get it to when it knows about your business. So a lot of the hesitation people have with AI, or when they're dismissive of it, they say, I can tell when stuff's written by AI, it's just generic, blah type of content. I would never want my business to be producing that type of stuff because it's inauthentic, it doesn't sound like me, it's not reflective of my unique business, and it sounds like everybody else out there. So the thing to keep in mind is that we need to give it the right inputs in order to get the right outputs. And at the most simple level, what we want to do for any type of command with ChatGPT is to basically we want to assign it a role, specify an outcome, provide any extra detail, and then you basically hit the button and let it do its thing. But then the magic really happens after that when you provide revisions. So at its most simple, that is a format for a prompt that we want to follow. For example, you might say, act as a professional interior designer. I want you to, and the outcome, I want you to come up with different design scenarios for a bathroom. Here's some extra detail. It's this many square meters. There's this types of constraints. There's these bits of furniture or these bathroom sink, shower, etc. that needs to be considered. Can you please give me some design ideas? And then hit submit, let it do its thing, and then give it the revisions. Then say to it, okay, I really like that idea. Could you take that and maybe tweak it in this respect, or add this type of thing in? And it's magic that happens in the revisions. Like, its initial response might be 50, 60% right. But then giving it the revisions might get it to 80% right. And Sophie's comment in the chat, it's just like us getting a great brief from a client, 100%. It absolutely is. And then getting good feedback from the client is like getting the revisions right. And what I find is that if you get ChatGPT initially, to get to that even 70% or 80% level of quality, then what I like to do is actually then put the human touch on. So that grunt work, ChatGPT can handle the grunt work and probably get you to that 80% mark reasonably quickly. But then the magic happens with the icing on the cake. All right. So you wouldn't be a reputable interior designer if ChatGPT could do your job entirely. But it's like sort of baking a cake. The cake part is often quite straightforward to create, but the magic often lies in the icing, the icing on top. So the beautiful craftsmanship and everything else, and that distinguishes like a Woolies cake from a $1,000 wedding cake, is the craftsmanship that goes into those types of things. And same deal with and that's why the human element, your expertise, your skill, really is like the icing on the cake. But what I like to do then is, once I put the finishing touches on, or the icing on the cake, I take that and I feed that back to ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, here's my finished product or finished version or finished design or whatever, finished brief. Can you learn from that for next time? And so you're closing the loop with ChatGPT. So next time you want to do something, whether it's an article or a Facebook post or something in the design world, it's learning from learning from your human touch. Now, if you want to go sort of one step further, I do have a perfect prompt template, and it is available as a download as well. I'll type the link into the chat too, but you can see it on the screen. Assign it a role, specify the task or the outcome, explain who the recipient's going to be. So if you're saying act as a interior designer, I want you to come up with a really solid brief. Is it a brief for a layperson, or is it a brief for a fellow professional, or is it a brief for a builder? So specify who the recipient is. Add in any essential details. Specify an approach if relevant. Now there might be some recognized interior design approaches that you could say. Provide any extra context, like this is a beach house in Victoria, so it's going to be quite cool compared to other beach houses or whatever, and then explain the format and the structure that you want. So is it a certain length? Is it a certain output? Is it designed to be a table? Or is it designed to be copy? Or is it designed to follow a certain format? So when you put all that together, this template that I'm about to share in the chat with you, it allows you to then fill this bit out. You don't have to do every cell if you don't want to, but you fill in the blanks for each of these, or the ones that you want to, and then you can literally just copy that part in yellow and paste that entire prompt into ChatGPT. So I think it's perfect prompt is the link, and that should just take you straight to the Google Doc. So there's no opt-in or anything for that, folks. It's in the chat. It's on the screen if you're watching the replay. And if I stop the share, if I take you to that document itself, you fill in all these blanks here. What you need to do is just go File, make a copy, and make your own version, because you won't be able to edit this one because it's the master one. But once you've filled out all the blanks, you just copy this bit, copy that, and paste that into ChatGPT. And then, of course, don't forget the second part, which is just to give the feedback and revision as you go. So get it from 50% to 85%. And you can then use this perfect prompt template for your prompts. Pleasure, Sarah. It's a pleasure. Okay. So is that all making sense? How are we going? We're going about 25 minutes. On a scale of 1 to 10, how is it so far? Just let me know in the chat. I'll take a drink of kombucha. I'll take a breather. And okay. Good. So we'll keep on going. One of the concepts that I also want you to keep in mind that I did allude to at the start is this idea that, yes, with marketing, content is definitely important, but I just want to preface that by saying, and this is what I teach my private clients, is that we definitely need to be connected with the right people first. So the greatest content in the world is no good if you're not connected to the right people and no one sees it. So it's a bit like Shakespeare writing in a basement and no one ever seeing the words. All right, so content is good, marketing is good, but only as good as being connected to the right people. I encourage clients, my coaching clients, to get very clear on their Dream 1000 or their 1,000 true fans. And if you can connect with those people on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, preferably email as the destination you really want people on as a second step. And if they are seeing your content, then that's powerful, because of those 1,000, there are likely going to be in that 1,000, 100 to 150 disciples. And when I say disciple, I mean that the word disciple comes from or means being devoted. And so they're not necessarily devoted to you as a designer or decorator, but they are devoted to the outcome that you can help them achieve. So they are devoted to designing their home and they're devoted to that's going to happen in the next 3 years, say. Whether it's with you as the interior designer, that's a different conversation, but they are devoted to decorating or designing their house in the reasonably foreseeable future. And so once you can identify who those 150 disciples are, well then, and you do that through your content and through your messaging, well then that's where your next 10 or dozen clients come from. So from a marketing and lead gen standpoint, that's the name of the game. You don't need content to go viral or have 1 million views on TikTok or whatever. It's a nice vanity metric if that does happen, but really we don't need to be so concerned with the volume of numbers. It's more the quality. So if you've got 1,000 good quality people on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and email, then that's the flow that's going to happen. So it's really important to put the line in the water, put some bait on the hook. And this is, again, going fishing with my daughter. We don't catch anything if you don't put stuff out there. All right. And so most people's businesses are typically based on word of mouth and referrals. And that's really good. As you build your reputation, fantastic. That is a lovely position to be in. But often, if you're just reliant on word of mouth and referrals, it's probably because there's no marketing system in place. And it's very reactive when you're just relying on word of mouth and referrals. It's often a matter of crossing your fingers and hoping someone reaches out to you. But when you do have a marketing system, you're using ChatGPT to make that necessary evil happen, then you are putting some bait on the hook and you are putting good quality stuff out there for people. Which brings me to the sort of final part of the content presentation, which is what do we even need to say in order to generate the types of good quality leads and clients. So it's not just a matter of putting stuff out willy-nilly. There really does need to be some structure to your marketing content. And again, I'm going to show you how ChatGPT can make this happen for you. But there's 4 main types of content that we need to factor in. The first is share content. No, I'll give you a moment to have a think about this. Sharing stuff is like behind the scenes, personal stories, anecdotes, anything that allows people to develop a bit of a personal connection with you. Because people do buy from people that they know, like, and trust. So they do have to like you. And often, yes, your designs might be brilliant. Sometimes they may hire you even without feeling like they know you. But the best types of clients and the best types of projects will come a lot more easily when there is that personal connection that's already taken place through your content. And this may well happen if you're quite active in content already, but when you meet somebody talk to a prospect for the first time or a client for the first time, in an ideal world, they should feel like they know you. And it should feel a little bit weird for you in as much as they might be overly familiar with you because they've understood your take on things. It's creepy. Yeah, if you're doing good work, Sophie, they will know your cat or your dog or where you like to go on holiday, or you don't need to overshare, but they should understand your thinking on certain topics, your core beliefs. All of those types of things help to attract the right people and repel the wrong types of people. So have a think about that. Maybe jot down a few ideas of what would be some personal anecdotes, core beliefs, stories, behind the scenes type things you could share that would enable that or facilitate that personal connection with people. Okay. Now, the second type of content that we need to consider with our marketing is show content. Okay, so show content is all about demonstrating results or that your stuff works. So this could be your portfolio or awards or any recognition that you've received in trade publications or magazines or interviews that you've done. This is where you have a little bit of a flex. Because there needs to be that initially that personal connection, so they like you or they resonate with you, they gravitate to you. But then the other thing to keep in mind is that they're only going to engage your services if they believe that you're going to achieve results for them. Okay. The third area of content that we need to consider, I'll do this in yellow, is teach content. Now, generally speaking, this is where many of us feel most comfortable. And this might be little like tutorials or tips, anything where you're conveying your expertise. But this is where most people tend to gravitate when they're sharing content online, on social media, on their blog, on their newsletter, because it feels safe. We want to share our knowledge. We feel we're being valuable. And so we teach people, knowing that if we teach them enough, then they're likely going to want to engage a professional to do it for them. And finally, the fourth quadrant is making offers. So offers can take various formats, but it's really about just guiding people to take the next step. So whatever that next step is, it might be to download a lead magnet, or it might be to send you a private message, or it might be a call to action to leave a comment, or it might be a call to action to reply to an email to indicate that they have a renovation or interior design project coming up this year. So any type of invitation for people to take the next step. And when you get the balance right, you do want to aim for roughly 25% of each. Yes, Michelle, you do rotate through these 4 content areas. As a starting point, I tend to recommend to clients, aim for a different one each week, and then by the end of the month, at least you've covered off all 4 areas, and that should, as a cadence, serve you well, because there is an offer part component to that. So it should be generating more leads and inquiries for you as that builds momentum. Are there any questions so far just on that content side of things? Aside from Michelle's, do you rotate through these 4 content areas? Cool. Okay, so we're getting close to the demo part here, folks. So I'm just going to plant the seed that if somebody would like to be in the hot seat and just sort of talk me through your business and your style and your ideal client, there's an opportunity to do that shortly. And if nobody wants to, then Vicky may well just be a sample guinea pig for me and just sort of share answers that is reflective of the group. But there is an opportunity to do this for real for your own business, and I will share with you the link to continue that chat thread. Okay, question from Michelle. If this only goes out to your regular followers, how do you reach more? Absolutely. So that's part of the challenge, right? So what I recommend doing, and there's a few different approaches. One is to be a part of other groups. So if you're not automatically connected with the right types of people, maybe there's Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups or community groups where you can go in order to participate in the community, to add value, not just to spam and poach people, but to genuinely connect. The other part is identifying or trying to identify the right types of people on LinkedIn. So if there's certain like professions in certain areas that you tend to work with, you can try to find those people on LinkedIn. Now, it's not going to be as perfect if you're in the B2C type of design. If it's B2B, that might work a lot better. But there's probably also referral partnerships as well that you could identify. So if there are professions maybe like builders or other adjacent types of professions, you could much more easily identify those people on LinkedIn. And Patricia's question is, what if your avatar client is not on social media? If they're definitely not, and it's unlikely that anybody on social media is your client, then there's no need to worry. Or just go old school and ask people for referrals and really work that angle hard. But almost certainly there are going to be some of your ideal clients on social media. If you're 100% sure there's not, I'd probably test that assumption first. But it's a pretty big assumption that none of them would be. But if they're not, yeah, probably wouldn't worry about doing social media content unless you have the referral partnership angle to focus on. With getting that list of people, what I do also have is a resource called the Outreach Tracker. And this is especially like if you're not connected with the right people yet. And this is what I take my coaching clients through initially before we even worry about content. Because if you don't have the right connections, the best content in the world isn't really going to help that much until you're connected with people. And so this is specifically designed with LinkedIn in mind, but the same process would apply whether it's, regardless of where you're going to find these people. It's basically a spreadsheet. Like you could do your research in a Facebook group or a community group or even an in real life group. Like if you've got a business breakfast that you attend once a month. Now there's probably many mechanisms for keeping in touch with those people, but oftentimes people aren't deliberate about it. So you would basically just write in all the people's names that you come across in a Facebook group or a LinkedIn search or from business cards that you collect at a business breakfast, and then just populate this and then actually determine, have I sent my first message to them? Could be, hey, lovely to meet you at the breakfast on Thursday. Be great to connect. And when they accept your connection request, you could send them a conversation starter, and you can then mark that cell ticked off or filled in once you have started a conversation with them. And this is what I call the 5-step nurture system, this part here, a series of 5 messages that you send to people so that you can advance the conversation strategically and deliberately with these people. A message to gauge their interest could be something along the lines of, I've just put together this guide for interior, for doing the interiors of your home, of your family home renovation. Would you like me to send you a copy? Now, if they say yes, there's a fair indication that they're interested in designing their home. And then finally, the message, also second last, message 4, raising their hand. You might say something like, would you like my help with this? It can be as simple as that. And if they say, yes, Sarah, I would love your help with this, great. Well, then you can go to stage 5, which is giving them a call and having a sales conversation with them. Now that process, it's very effective, but it is quite laborious at times. And you can see in that spreadsheet there that keeping track of all of that and even getting the information in there can be very tedious. So what I recommend is engaging a virtual assistant for that type of stuff. So you can typically hire, in fact, many of you probably do already work with virtual assistants. I go to Upwork, or there's a whole bunch of other ones, but I like Upwork, and hire a virtual assistant for maybe $10, $15 an hour, and they can actually help with all of that grunt work. So the magic in my experience happens when you've got ChatGPT accelerating stuff and you've got a VA for the grunt work. So stuff with ChatGPT should be 100 times faster than sort of writing stuff from scratch on your own, and a VA can handle the grunt work. It really is like the difference in speed between like getting a flight to Sydney from Melbourne versus hitchhiking or walking from Melbourne to Sydney. And that frees you up to do your high value best work, which is doing the interior design for your sweet spot clients. Is that making sense so far, team? Okie dokie. And Natasha, the best time to post on social media, look, it doesn't really, some people will say, yes, there's different times of the day for sure. There probably is, like Tuesday, Thursday mornings. A lot of studies show. In practice, what I tend to find is that often just puts barriers and restrictions on you. I'm much more inclined in the early stages just to say, whenever it's ready, you pop it up. People are going to see it. If it's good, more people will see it. But don't let like perfection get in the way of this stuff. If you haven't done much social media content before, you might be a little bit like self-conscious or worried that, you know, it's not quite right, or people might say nasty things or all of that stuff. So it often helps in the early days, if not that many people see it, to get your confidence up. So don't worry about the perfection is your middle name. Yes. Perfection can be a big killer though, can't it? You want the perfect first post, either that the whole world sees and comes knocking on your door, Yeah, but at the same time, you don't want everybody to see, just in case someone disagrees with you and you get all this criticism. Look, Michelle, hashtags are still a thing. Yep. LinkedIn and Instagram still, yep, LinkedIn and Instagram both still use hashtags. So you would determine which of the hashtags most appropriate for your post. Yep, absolutely. You would. All right. Now, is anybody keen to be a guinea pig for me? Not even a guinea pig. Who would like to go through this AI process for their business? I'll give people a chance to pop their name into the chat and say, yes, please, I'm willing to be a guinea pig. But I also just want to say one other thing before we jump into it. All right. I will go first in best dressed. Tara, I'll get to you shortly. But the big realization for me with ChatGPT was that, yes, we spoke about the perfect prompt template that I shared with you. And there are limitations on how much information you can give it in one prompt, even though it is quite a large number of characters that you can input. There are still restrictions. And so what my thinking at the very start was, let's get this perfect prompt. My thinking quickly evolved to understanding that it's a very smart piece of, AI. It can remember and it can learn. So instead of a perfect single prompt, I like to have a prompt stack in the one thread where it can learn each time you give it feedback and each time you give it a prompt. So you don't need to, for every prompt, say, hey, I'm an interior designer. I'm based in Melbourne. My ideal clients are people with a home renovation project with a budget of $100,000. It knows that because you've already trained it properly in the thread. And so it's learning all this stuff about you, your business, your client, the projects that you do. So the more we can train it, especially at the start, the better its outputs are going to be on an ongoing basis. And so that's what I help clients do is, and we're going to start this process now, is actually go in and train ChatGPT. Cool. So Tara, are you around the desk or are you on Zoom on your own computer?
I'm on Zoom on my own computer.
Awesome. Can everybody, actually, how about I pin Tara and I'll pin myself to the, I'll pin Tara to second and I'll pin myself to first. Are you seeing both of us at the moment? Just me?
I'm only getting just you.
Who are we seeing now?
Still just you.
Okay, I'm just going to remove the pins for now and I'll remove the spotlight. Hopefully, when Tara's talking, you'll see her. When I'm talking, you'll see me. All right, so let me just kick off by saying these prompts that we're going to work through, I do have them, I'm going to share them on the screen with you, but they are part of like a package that I think Vicky alluded to at the start, which is I think it's at least 20, maybe 25 pages of prompts in here, which 28 pages of prompts, which we're not obviously going to have time to do all of them today. But if you are interested, I have made them available for like $100 Aussie. They're normally 300 US. So if you do like what we're doing and you can't remember all the prompts yourself or whatever, they are available and I will send you the link. But I'm going to share with you as much as we can doing this today. So there is a document here and yeah, 28 pages long. Basically the start of each page is a prompt and they're really quite in depth. It covers all sorts of stuff, which we're going to go through with Tara. And they're basically laid out. So the parts in yellow we're going to edit. And you do have the option too of putting the finished version of each of the tasks or each of the marketing and content outputs into another Google Doc. So the way it works is that, say for Tara, once we do each of these things, you copy and paste your output over here. So you can basically get all of this stuff done very, very quickly. All right. So what we're doing is we are trying to train ChatGPT about Tara's business. So I'm just going to make a copy of this just for the demo here for Tara, so we can actually write in it and not stuff up the original. And I recommend in ChatGPT using ChatGPT 4 if you have it. ChatGPT 3.5 will work pretty much as well, but ChatGPT 4 has just that higher capacity for bigger inputs, more computing power. Plus, the main thing for me is that you can add attachments. So you might, for example, have pricing proposals or fee estimates or fee proposals. You can actually just upload those PDFs or Word docs straight into ChatGPT, and it can learn how you do your fee proposals. So that, like, if you trained it up, you could then just say to ChatGPT for a new client, look, here's a couple of details about this one. Can you now turn that into a fee proposal for me? So that basically adding those PDFs works the best, in my opinion. Okie dokie. So, Tara.
Yes.
The question for you is, we want to just add a few sentences about your ideal clients.
I have a particular ideal client that I'm trying to work with at the moment, and it's a bit of an odd one for an interior designer, but it's single men.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more.
Yeah. Living on their own, wanting the perfect house, but not knowing anything about how to get it. Perhaps has been in a long-term relationship previously where the partner has either engaged an interior designer or has done all the design themselves. So they've gotten used to living in a gorgeous place and thought that perhaps it happened magically or naturally. And now they're in their own place. They'd like to set it up the way they want it, but don't know how.
Okay. Let me know if there's edits or stuff that you see me type wrong or that I miss, but I've given it my best shot there. All right. And then how about a bit of background information about your business?
Sure. With my business, I focus on biophilic design.
Okay, is that the right spelling?
Yeah, nice work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's around engaging nature in the home. So a lot of people tend to use a bit of timber, have good views, relatively simple, maybe some indoor plants, and people that enjoy being outside and bringing the outside in. And perhaps while I don't actively promote it all the time, it has a well-being effect that people see at the end of it.
Has a well-being effect.
Yeah.
On the people.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then just so we keep it quite simple for ChatGPT, do you consider yourself an interior designer, interior decorator?
Yes, interior designer.
And does your business have a name?
Yes, Cantwell Interiors. So CANTWELL Interiors.
Cool. Now, do you serve clients nationally, or is it specific? Like, do you tend to do Melbourne or Victoria, or all over?
I tend to do local. I'm in rural Bark, so it tends to be quite local, but I do have clients in other states.
And what was that?
But it's certainly the men are all local. They don't, yes. They
And
want
what
someone very close by.
tend to be local? And I just missed the suburb you said.
Oh, I'll spell it for you. It's Mooralbark, MOOROOLBARK.
Okay. All right. And then how about a little bit about you, Tara?
So I've been an interior designer for 3 years, but previously worked in community services.
Community services. Okay.
I'm not quite sure what else to say.
That's cool.
A brand new dog.
What sort of dog? What sort
It's
of
got
dog?
a Kelpie cross hunting terrier.
Is that the right spelling?
Kelpie, as in.
I said it autocorrected by me. I think Kelpie.
Yeah.
Cross hunting terrier.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And then how about your writing and communication style?
My writing style is friendly, warm, and social.
Very good. Okay, team, can you see what we've done with Tara? Does that seem achievable to you to do something similar? Follow the same prompts if you like, put your own spin on it, but the gist of that is teach it, tell it what it needs to know, like about your ideal client. The more context, the more detail you can give it, the better, within reason. Like, you don't have to, not always the more is better, but a few sentences should be fine. You don't need to have 10 pages answers for each of those, but that's the gist of it there. Anything else you'd like to add, Tara, before we sort of plug this in?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I'm not sure.
No, that's cool. I think it's good. So what we do is we just copy everything in the black font, whether it's highlighted or not. We head over to ChatGPT and we literally paste that in. What we're basically saying is, here's the information about my business. Can you just learn this, store it, and not do anything else? Wait for further instruction. So it said, understood. Please proceed with your specific requests or questions. Vicky's question is, does ChatGPT remember this information only within this chat thread currently in April 2024? If you start another chat thread, it won't remember this unless you create your own custom GPT, which you can on the paid plan. That's a next level up again. But yeah, stick to this one thread and it should remember everything about your business. But if you go to a new one, it won't. All right, so next prompt, I'm just going to go in and copy. This is about understanding the the fears and desires. So based on what we've told it, we've asked ChatGPT, what are the away from motivators or the fears, and what are the toward pleasure type things that this person is moving towards. So I'll let you read this as it comes up on the screen.
This is so cool.
So we're just going to start with the away from motivators, or the sort of the fear, the pain they're moving away from.
What did you type in to get the away from motivators?
Oh, I typed in this big. It's a page long. It's a page long.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I've just given it a big explanation about. It's a page long. It's like, yeah, very detailed. Played around with it, and it's come up with this output. So
Before I screenshot this, am I able to get any of this information?
Yeah. You're on the hot seat, so you get this. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So what we will do is we'll make a copy of this document, and we'll go Tara, and then what we do is we copy the final outputs once we agree that it's good into this document, so that you've got your client motivator there and the emotional drivers, and these are all the other bits and pieces that we can get it to do for us. So this whole thing is $100. Like, I'm showing you as much as I can. This is what I take my coaching clients and stuff through. But if you wanted to do it yourself, yeah, it's 100 Aussie. So as you read through this, Tara, talk me through what you think.
Many of them are what some of these clients have already, like in that demographic, have already said in different ways. So it is almost like hearing it parroted back from what people are saying. So, I reckon I would have, if I could flow through the initial conversation with some of these clients in this demographic, that's exactly what would happen. We would flow through this.
Cool. Pretty good output then.
Yeah. The only thing is, I think the disconnection from nature is something that I know, or I would acknowledge that they might be wanting, but that's not necessarily what I hear first up from them. They might say lack of design expertise. They might say, it's uncomfortable. I'm sick of buying furniture that doesn't fit. And I might hear words that suggest they have a social pressure to have a good lifestyle, but they might not say it out loud.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm just taking some notes here. Well, as I hear, they may feel social pressure.
Yeah, so I might hear it in the language that they use, or they might say things like, I really want my friends to be able to come over and have somewhere nice to sit, but I can't get that right. So I hear that, and I understand that's a little bit of social pressure, but they're not necessarily saying that out loud, and would be possibly offended if I suggested that.
Great observation there.
And perhaps the same with the disconnection with nature. They're saying things like, I've got to get out of here. I've got to go for a bushwork, or I've got to go overseas, and I really have taken these beautiful photos of all my travels overseas in nature, but I can't make that work in my house.
So that first one you were telling me about, the language that they use in the social pressure, was that to do with disconnecting from nature, or is that a different?
No, sorry, that's around the social pressure.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Explicitly. They may not say it explicitly, but as a designer, I hear things. Yep, okay. And then read number 2, disconnection from nature. What was the thing you were saying?
They won't say it out loud in that way, but they will give examples of where they've had to leave their house often to get peace, to have exercise, to have a nice holiday, but they'll want to bring it back in.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right. But they'll give examples of. Okay, I'll just leave it just like that. All right, good. And then toward motivators. So the 5 here that they're moving towards.
Definitely the self-expression, the personalization, self-expression, that's very loud. Comfort and probably comfort over well-being.
Yep. Pride.
And probably the same, yeah, more pride. No, maybe that's right. Yep. And definitely, I'll say definitely the investment in self and future.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to say that's pretty good. My only feedback is as follows. And again, you can use whatever language you like. I just talk to it like as a human. You don't need to, have certain formats or anything. It should understand what. I might just be a little bit more precise and just in a way. So I'm just going to go away from motivators, number 2 and number 3, and then toward motivators. There, and then we just want to, can you factor these in, factor this in and reproduce the lists. So again, it's done a pretty good job, but the magic is, well, not the magic necessarily, but we can get another 10, 20, 30% better. Opportunity for the outdoors.
It's magic.
And whilst that's producing the answers there, Vicky said, can you go back to a chat thread multiple times? Yes, of course. Yeah. So you see down in the menu items here, I've got ideal client profile. So I'm just going to rename that Tara Ideal Client, Melbourne Designers Group. So I'll save that. So yeah, if I can come back to that tomorrow or next week and go, all right, well, now I want to do like a video script or a Facebook post. I would go back to this because it's all about Tara's ideal client. All right, so unspoken social expectations.
Yeah, that's great.
Can anyone hear the dog barking in the background on my end? Oh, good.
No.
It's worth having the microphone here that picks up me, but not all the background. Okay, so you're reasonably happy with those then, Tara?
Yeah, really good.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste that into the Tara content assets. Paste that in there. So then what we want to do is I want to understand the emotional motivators, like the actual emotions that this buyer is going through. So I've said, great, thank you. Now let's take it further and look at their emotional motivators. So the negative emotions that they're feeling, everyone can read that, I think. So if it's too small, just probably presume you would let me know if you couldn't read it. How do they feel to you, Tara?
Yeah, gosh, they're good.
Okay. And then positive emotions that you can get them to once they've worked with you.
I think they'd use the word peace, but not necessarily harmony. That's great.
Awesome. Okay, so that's good. Let's copy and paste that across into the doc. Then we've got the emotional drivers. Make that the right color. Awesome. And so what we're doing now is we're just now asking it to write out a buyer persona. Again, you don't need it word for word like I've done it. But if you want it word for word, there's the product. I'll share the link with you in a sec. But we want it now just to do a buyer persona. So again, all this information in this chat thread, it is storing and remembering. No worries, Anna, if you've got a role.
I've been procrastinating on doing this for so long.
Have you? Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be overwhelming, right? Because you go,
Yeah.
how on earth do I start? And I hope what I've done today has provided your starting point.
Yeah.
Now, that might be the right age. Yep. Giving you a
Yeah. Probably a little bit
higher
older.
income.
Yeah. Probably a little bit more. But yeah.
Please increase income range to more like, what, 250 plus? Or what would you say?
Maybe 200 plus.
Okay.
What I didn't say, and I should have, is that these people are often super busy at work, like enjoying success at work.
Mm-hmm. Yep. In this case, you can say, what I didn't tell you earlier is that these ideal clients are usually very busy at work.
Yeah.
And what were you going to say?
And successful at work. There's a sense of irritation that they can't put those skills that they have at work that they're known for and successful for into this damn house.
A sense of irritation that they can't apply their skills to the house or something? Or
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
Okay. So you can always tell it more. So irritation. Yeah. So that's what we'll do now. And we'll say, please redo. Buyer persona.
Great.
Can I just point out, Adam, there's a typo in that you just typed out. You didn't put busy, you put must.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. So often if it's not a big typo, it will know. That said, you can always go back to this pencil part and change it. So irritation, it probably knows, even though it says it's a typo. Where was the must and busy?
The next line up, just where you've got your cursor now.
There it is. Yep. So then what you just do is, I'll wait for it to finish this bit. It's still going. I might just hit stop on that actually. And then go back up. I've edited the pencil bit, save and submit. So now it'll do it again properly, having fixed the typo. You can also go back to the start and add that information in at the very first prompt, but then you'd need to run through the prompts again.
It's changed his name, like his income has meant that he needs a new name now.
Yeah. Yeah, you can either say keep everything exactly the same. All right, so let's assume this is okay and you can fix it up. But yeah, you give it feedback as you go. And basically from here, team, you've done, once you've done these 3 steps, you've trained it pretty well in that it knows your business, your ideal buyer, but more importantly, the pain they're moving away from and the emotions that they're feeling. And so now it's fully primed to then for you to say, hey, give me 50 blog ideas, or let's, do something else. I'm just going to copy this in. So it's still going. I'll let you read it as we go. I'm just feeling it that I'm trying to rush because I know but this could go for like another hour. I get excited by this stuff because I just see how much it can take. Like you give it a little bit of you and it can extrapolate and speed things up an incredible amount. Okay, just whilst that's going, what I'm also just going to do is just put the link in case people do want to actually get the whole prompt stack. I'm just going to put that in the chat. So I've basically just put a link in the chat. The link will be on the screen again. Oh, that's the right one. Let me just stop the share. So if you do want it, what I've done is I've just put it up for a couple of days, usually 300 US, but I've made it AUD. But there's a special code. The code is preloaded with design as the code, and that'll bring it down to $100 plus GST in Aussie dollars, and that'll get basically does all these things. We train it, emotional drivers, buyer persona. That's what we've done on the screen together. It can do your LinkedIn profile, conversation started, outreach scripts, find your ideal clients, shake the tree messages, content plan, and flagship content, blah, 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 all of that stuff. So the link there is in the chat if you do want that. Back to, will my offer work for the free version of ChatGPT? Yep, it sure will. The answers it gives will be slightly different, but pretty much, comparable. You just don't have that PDF attachment type thing. I'll be emailing the link to Vicky afterwards, Tanya. Yep. So you can either click on it now or get it off Tanya, or get it off Vicky later. So buyer persona for Cantwell is copied and pasted in blue. How frustrating. Now, does that make sense, everybody? I mean, whether you do the prompt back or not, like you get the gist of it, you can just sort of explain to it in your own words, to talk to me about the pain points that people are trying to move away from and the pleasure it's moving towards, the exact wording. You get the gist of it. So what, is that all making sense? Pretty useful, I hope.
Yes. Oh, it's that. Is there what they do play golf and do wine tasting? Fantastic.
Good. So one of the other things I thought from here, you can basically just tell it, like, write me a Facebook post, give me ideas for blog topics, do a LinkedIn profile makeover. So you can just see in here all the different options that there are. What I thought would be useful to finish on very, very quickly is write like me. Like it can give you lead magnet ideas. Actually, let's just quickly do that one for Tara. So, lead magnet's something that we can give away for free, but they're really valuable, entice people into our world, transform your space, a quick guide to biophilic design, executive's checklist for stress-free home environment, single man's guide to personalizing your space. So a whole bunch of different ideas of stuff you could actually just create a document. And then when you're going to people in your network, you identify people that may be single, maybe not, but blokes. I can say, hey, I'm actually just creating. You don't have to have done it yet. You can say, I'm actually creating this resource called The Art of Minimalism, Decluttering and Designing Your Space. Would you like me to send you a copy when it's ready? So if you send it to somebody who's not interested, they'll probably go, no, thanks, Tara. But if they are, you go, great, this person's actually demonstrated some interest. I'll add them to my list and keep in touch with them. So we're getting all these wonderful ideas, which probably would take us longer than 60 seconds to come up with on our own with a blank Google Doc. But ChatGPT has given us 25. Here, I'll pop that into your profile. League magnet ideas. And so that's some stuff you can be working on as well. And then finally, write like me. And of course, it can write those lead magnets too. There's prompts in there for that. Write like me. This is so that you can actually get it to sound like you. Like most of you will have your own style. And so what we want to do, here we're basically saying, act as a copywriter. I'm going to give you examples of stuff I've written. Your job is to learn, process it and learn from it so you can understand my style. I'm going to give you a bunch of different examples. And you're going to say start and subsequently say next and next and next until I say done. So we submit that prompt and it should just say start. If it's paying attention, start. And so then, Tara, what you do is you take, maybe you've written 3 blog articles before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you then copy and paste a blog article in, or you hit the pencil paperclip icon and attach examples of your work, and it processes all of that. And then you ask it to do a style guide based on its analysis of all of your writing. And then you say, now can you follow this style guide so that, now follow the style guide and now write an article on biophilic design for a single man in that suburb that you're in.
Yeah.
and it will sound like you, and it will be really well tailored to that particular buyer. Thoughts? What's going through your mind at the moment, Tara?
Oh, that's outrageous. It's just it just saves so much time. It just and if it sounds like you, then you always have the last call. You can look at it and say, no, that's not like me. No, that's not at all like me. And so the fact that it's created means that it's still a mostly original piece. So you still get to say, no, I like it. No, I don't like it. This is not my style, or I'll redo it or whatever. So it's like having the best prompt ever.
That's the key, yep. So 100%. It should sound like you. And then even if it's 80% right, you still put your finishing touches on, feed it back so it learns for next time, and it speeds things up phenomenally. All right, do you just want to pop your email address in the chat for me, Tara, and I can send you that document? And just to finish on, that's the information there for the prompt stack. Vicky will send it around the link. I'll keep that $100 price for the next few days or so. If you're on your phone, you can just scan the QR code. The link was in the chat before too. The other thing I wanted to say is, do you feel it's worth spending 30 minutes a day or even 30 minutes a week to use ChatGPT to accelerate your growth and your marketing? Just let me know in the chat. Is it worth probably playing around with this stuff? Yeah, absolutely, yes. Apparently so. Yeah, 30 minutes a week, yeah. And then how useful has today's workshop been for you on a scale of 1 to 10? I know it feels like a little bit of social compulsion to tell me high numbers or not give an honest. So I am taking it with a pinch of salt. The people that weren't happy with it probably aren't comfortable saying it was a 3. Okay. 11. Thank you very much, Larissa. And if that has been good, would you be comfortable just writing me a short little Google review? It does make a tremendous difference to what I do. You can either scan the QR code on the screen or just click that link. And I'd love it if you just left me an honest review of the workshop. So bluewiremedia.com.au/Adam-review should just automatically open up a Google review. Yeah, it was ChatGPT for marketing was my understanding for today's workshop. That's why we've covered mainly from a marketing angle. The same approach would work from any sort of angle. Like if you wanted to, get it to analyze all of your fee proposals or even some of your interior design, work, deliverables, all that sort of stuff, it can probably compute and process that. And thank you. So if you'd like my scribbled on slides and workbook and actually a copy of my book, which is behind me, it's called Web Marketing That Works. I'll send you a PDF copy of that. All you need to do is just send me an email now to adam.franklin or just adam@BlueWire Media. Just put MDG in the subject line so I know where you're from, and I'll send you my book and my book, perfect prompt template, a link to the prompt pack if you like, and a bunch of resources as well. I've got a heap of marketing templates on my website that I can send you as well. So that brings us to the 6 o'clock your time mark. I have taken questions as we've gone because I thought that would be the most appropriate way to do it in real time. I might hand back to Vicky. I don't see any more questions in the chat. Thank you for the Google reviews. Thank you for your attention and company today.
Adam, can I just say thank you, huge thanks from all of us. I think we'll be talking about this a lot. And you've got a very captive audience here. So thanks again. And for your flexibility, I know you've been very busy and you fitted us in at short notice. So thank you again. And everyone support Adam with reviews. And I'm sure you'll get lots of requests for the prompt stack. That sounds fabulous. We won't be doing any work for a little while. Yeah.
What I can do, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. That was the only other final thing I meant to say. I'm just going to drop the link into the chat too. It'd be lovely to connect on LinkedIn. And if you do want the resources, I do have a weekly newsletter that I send out with marketing templates, workshop invites, all of that type of stuff. So if you do email me for those resources, I'll add you to the list. If you don't want to get my regular newsletter, just put no thanks in there as well. I'll send you the resources, but I won't add you to the list. Now, did you want to stick around on the Zoom line? I can just close off my bit and maybe, do you want 15 minutes to chat amongst yourselves?
Yep, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'm not going to be actively listening, but don't say anything too nasty about me behind my back. I might still hear it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no worries.
Yes, bye.
Bye.
So everyone can probably unmute themselves. We just thought that if anyone had any further comments, well, maybe Julianne, you can start with what you were talking about earlier. Just kind of expanding on what Adam's provided to us in terms of other areas that we can use ChatGPT, and probably, I guess, the benefit for the group would be if people have got personal experiences rather than just kind of ideas. I mean, there's a lot to think about and talk about, but just interested for the next 15 minutes on whether there's any actual examples of how people have used it. So Julianne, do you want to go first?
Hi everyone. I was chatting to Vicky before when I arrived. I think obviously the presentation was excellent and I learned so much about it, but I've been playing around with ChatGPT for a little while, creating some Instagram posts and things like that, not understanding how to utilize the Your Voice section. But I've been having a bit of fun just working some of the workings out in my back end business. So I've done a lot of work on my ideal client and ideal project in the past. So I've loaded those into ChatGPT to understand, again, where I might find those clients and more information about them. One of the things I did recently was type in a little bit about myself and where I am, and then ask for ideas for revenue, so other ways to earn revenue as an interior designer. and it came up with about 12 or 13 different things, a lot of things that we know already, but just maybe at this stage for me just to reread over some of those things and think a little bit about what that might be. Some of it's simple things like e-decorating, which I did early on in my career. You know, some of it was property styling or just adding a styling service to your business, teaching, running workshops. There was just some really interesting ideas there, and it was thought-provoking. What I didn't do then was what Adam had just suggested, and do a lot of the follow-up prompts, which I'm keen to have a play around with at the moment.
Does anyone else have any experience with using it?
Yeah. A friend of mine, she's also runs a small business, and she runs a training and coaching service. She's got the paid version, and she couldn't promote it more highly to me, even the paid service, and she uses it for everything. Even I asked her for a recommendation on LinkedIn, and I got this incredibly lengthy, useful one, but I'm pretty sure she did it on ChatGPT. So even just things like that, you know, supporting each other, being able to connect really quickly in ways that you want to, when it would have probably taken her a lot of effort to do something like that in the past. So it's just, she uses it for everything in business.
Nikki, you've got your hand up. What am I doing? I want to do Nikki. Hang on. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Pressing buttons.
I can go while we're waiting.
Yeah.
I've been using ChatGPT on the app Later for Instagram. I'm finding with inspiration images, I tend to go back to my own style of describing the image or how to inspire. So I gave it up to ChatGPT, and it's really refreshed my tone of voice. And you know, you can choose professional tone of voice or casual, and it pops up with 3 different options, and it's taken me so much. It's making my time more effective on social media. Can't recommend it enough, really. I'm going to keep doing it.
It's brilliant. Love it.
Yeah.
All the time.
You do it as well, Tash?
All the time. It's even like, I mean, sometimes I'm a little bit blunt. Surprise, surprise. And it just softens my voice a little bit. Like, it just puts things in a little bit more a diplomatic way that I put. Oh, that's actually a really nice way to put it. You know, it's even running back to clients and, you know, things like that with emails, and, you know, it just puts a softer tone onto everything for me.
Yeah.
But I choose it all the time. Definitely.
Nikki, did you have something that you wanted to add?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can now.
Yeah, okay. So I use ChatGPT almost every day in my business. So it's really great if you're not necessarily the best writer. And also for me is, obviously I've been developing, you know, my kind of, I guess, my own language and my own kind of, you know, who I am as an interior designer. It's been really hard to try and write down your ideas without sounding like you're kind of tooting your own trumpet. So it's almost kind of like writing some ideas down, and then you say to ChatGPT, you know, make that less formal, make that more fun, make that whatever, and you can choose your own type of language that you want them to rewrite it for. So it's really good for, as Tennille was saying, like Instagram posts and things like that. Like, you might want to get some type of point across, and you ask questions to ChatGPT to say, you know, I want to put, you know, a blog post out, and I want to be writing about, let's just say, the Pantone color of the year and how to use that in your interior. And I want to talk about, you know, people's pain points about using color or whatever it may be. And it just spits out all this information, which is just so clever. And you can highlight parts of the information that they say and say, reword this, you know, not including the word, you know, XYZ or whatever. And it just keeps, I guess, reissuing a response until it's kind of perfect for you. So it's really, really good. And it's not just in my business. Like, it's sometimes I had to use it the other day. I wrote a stern email to a client just about boundaries and calling me after hours and things. So I had to send an email to him just to reiterate what my, opening times are and when he can contact me and how he can contact me. So I wrote this email as if I was going to write it, and then I just said, please reword this in a nicer way. And they just spat out the email so much more different, as probably Tash was saying, like, it's really hard to come across nice sometimes when you're writing quite a stern email, and I didn't want to come across as blunt, but it got the point across, and the client was really apologetic, and the boundaries have been set once again. So it was really good. Yeah.
Just looking at comments. Anyone else have anything to contribute?
Yes. Be very careful what you put out onto ChatGPT, because things will end up on the internet.
Can you expand on that?
It goes into the giant World Wide Web of information. So if you're putting something in about your business, just be careful it's something you want the world to know about.
Okay.
I actually also got told too, if you do your internet banking, use it on a different platform. Don't use it on the same platform you do with ChatGPT. And I mean, I do it, but
It's good to save banking details on a bookmark and always refer back to that, because
I use Chrome and I use Safari, but I'm going to start doing my internet banking on my phone now rather than actually my computer because of ChatGPT. I know, apparently, I don't know, it's just...
Honestly, it listens to everything you say anyway, so I don't, it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah.
But just something to be aware of.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it.
Can I ask, how he's talking about the pricing? The 110, was that per month, or I missed that bit, or is it for the year?
Yeah, that's a package of that information, the prompt stack.
So all those where he was copying each.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Each stack point, which he used, 4 of them, and there's like 30 in his package. So you can just copy that as a prompt to put into ChatGPT. That's $110 to get all of that wording. For each one. Yeah.
And I think he was using the free ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you can still get that much stuff on it when it's free.
Yeah.
I use it free.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Has anyone used that? I think it's a competitor called Claude.
Oh, I've also used you.com. There's so many. ChatGPT, but old fashioned.
I think there's 111,000 of them.
Yeah.
Not to scare anyone.
Good question. Does anyone use a different platform other than ChatGPT?
Yes, I do. Notion, which is its main competitor.
Okay, so
but a
Notion,
lot of them are using ChatGPT under their own banner as well. They haven't reinvented the software there. So it's linked with
MailChimp's got something, but I'm not sure what it is. But I was interested to hear that later uses ChatGPT within it.
Yeah, lots of them will use things within it. Notion built its own, and it's more process driven than because it's a process like a database management and process management system. It's more that way inclined.
Yeah.
But they both have to.
Yeah. You know those blog ideas that are spat out?
Yeah.
Does that pick the top ranking, how do I say it? Does that pick the top ranking topics in that?
Well, it was
from Google. Like, for instance, if you're trying to get up Google and you want to blog, it's ideal.
Responding to Tara's ChatGPT person client profile. So that's the things to do. So
I knew by the topics, but I'm just wondering if it's also clever enough to work out what the Google rankings are on those topics as well.
Yeah, it may. I don't know.
You can ask them. So you could, in your information you write, you could say, could you please provide an SEO, high Google ranking blog post about XYZ, and it could give you like keywords for you to use in it that's trending at the moment. Like literally the questions you're asking about something, you ask ChatGPT about it. So if you're like saying, well, is that going to rank high? Just say, can you please use keywords that rank high on Google or whatever. So you can literally just keep asking questions that you're doubting yourself in your mind about what the blog post is going to achieve. And then it just basically keeps spitting out more and more information and rewords things for you.
I think the more information, the more instructions you give it, the better the result's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're thinking something in your mind, just write that into ChatGPT, and it just keeps on regenerating a response for you.
Yeah, I guess the trick is to know the questions to ask. That's the tricky bit, but that's what the stack prompt's supposed to be.
I think that, and once you get a bit more experience with it, you'll know what you need it to.
Yeah. So it's really a tool in conjunction with other, ideas and things. Well, I think our time's going to run out in a minute. So thank you, everybody. Good turnout.
Thank you.
And
thanks, Vicky, for arranging this meeting. It was very informative.
Send your details to Adam as you want to, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Awesome. Thank you. Can I just take a minute? Sam went off the line, but just to let you know, her mother-in-law died on Monday. So she's dealing with a house sale at the moment, a house full of house guests, and her mother-in-law died on Monday. So things are all a bit chaotic. So she just wanted me to let you all know at the end if she had to leave early. That's what that was about. So,
okay, thanks, Marisha.
Okay, thanks everyone, and thank you again, Vicky, for organising that. It's very, very interesting. Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hello. You're on mute. Shh. Mute. Howdy. Good, how are you? Oh, Joe, I found it boring.